On top of that.
All right, good afternoon. It's 3:35. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the roll call of commission members. Commissioner Fair.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Ponce.
Here.
And I am here. And we'll begin with request. I'd like to request a motion to approve the minutes from the August 3rd, 2023 meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Commissioner Ponce has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, Commissioner Fair.
Second by Commissioner Fair. And we'll do the roll call. Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm a yes. The motion carries unanimously, and the minutes will be posted on the commission's website. There are 5 projects on the agenda for today's meeting. Staff to the commission will present the projects on the agenda and state their recommendation. Following the staff presentation, the committee will have the opportunity to ask questions of the staff. The applicant may make a statement. Following the applicant's statements, members of the public may make their statements, and I'd like to ask anyone other than the applicant wishing to make a statement on any item on today's agenda to complete a public comment card and give the card to a member of the staff. Comment cards are available at the door. As a courtesy to other individuals wishing to offer comments, we ask that members of the general public limit their statements to 3 minutes or less. When time comes for a public comment on an individual item on the agenda, we'll call the names on the cards and ask you to come forward to the microphone to state your name, interest, organization, and the company you represent. Our first project is 1579 North Milwaukee in the first ward, Alderman Espada, Milwaukee Avenue District. Is the proposed exterior and interior rehabilitation of an existing commercial building, including storefront replacement, select terracotta repairs, and roof membrane repairs. And Joyce Ramos has the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner. The Flatiron Building was designed by Oliver and Roche in 1913. The building is located at a 3-corner intersection of Milwaukee North and Damon Adams. The building currently has a variety of non-historic storefront arrangements, styles, and colors, as they were replaced separately by each individual tenant in the past. The storefronts on the corner retail space shown on the bottom of the slide were previously approved by the historic preservation staff and were replaced in 2019. The proposed new storefront design is informed by the original Halliburton and Roche drawings. The goal of this project is to replace the storefronts on the locations indicated on the drawing, so the overall appearance is consistent and closely matches the historic style and configuration. In keeping with the historic design, the storefronts will incorporate a 3-foot deep recessed entry for each tenant. Additionally, the 4-inch tall transom bar shown in green is appropriately more substantial than the 2-inch wide mullions. Staff recommends adding a horizontal reveal on the transom bar to create a profile and shadow lines to an otherwise large flat surface. Staff also recommends adding a vertical reveal to the 6-inch wide corner mullions shown in blue to create a profile and shadow lines, as historic mullion profiles were very slim. Staff recommends that if the existing ceiling on the interior tenant spaces is currently below the top of the new storefront system, that interior alterations will be performed. So all soffits, drop ceilings, lighting, and mechanical equipment will be set back at a minimum of 3 feet behind the plane of the storefront glazing to keep the storefronts unobstructed. Additionally, the glazing should be clear. Mirrored, reflective, or dark tinted glass and applied vinyl is not permitted. Staff recommends approval of the proposed storefront system, and large section detailed drawings shall be provided on the permit drawings for historic preservation staff review. The existing roof membrane will be patched and repaired, and a new reflective coating will be applied to improve energy performance and reduce heat island effect. A new high-energy non-ducted HVAC system will be installed on the 2nd and 3rd floors with new rooftop equipment installed at the locations indicated on the roof plan. These units will be set back at varying distances from the parapet, ranging from 19-foot 5 inches to 38-foot 8 inches. At these distances, the units are located far enough back and should not negatively impact the roof line. The size and locations of the existing stair enclosures and elevator overrides will remain and not be changed. In 2019, the terracotta facade was patched and repaired in several locations where the units were failing or missing. A 14-square-foot area of terracotta on a pier between storefronts on the north elevation is proposed to be patched and repaired. This work will be consistent with the work that was previously completed. Staff recommends that any new units required shall be replaced with terracotta or GFRC units to match the historic unit sizes, profiles, colors, and textures. Repair and replacement details should be included with the permit drawings. All masonry, mortar, and sealant samples should be reviewed and approved by staff prior to order and installation. No signage is approved at this time. Staff recommends that the property owner develop a comprehensive signage program for the building that includes standardized locations and sizes for signage within the new and existing storefronts for staff review. This is to help achieve a consistent appearance for all tenants. After a signage program has been established, each new sign shall be submitted under separate permit applications and should include an accurate elevation, section, and attachment drawings with sign dimensions, existing conditions shown, and materials and illuminations identified. So staff recommends approval for the project with the conditions mentioned during the presentation and also listed here. The aldermen submitted a letter of support on September 5th, which was just provided to you right before the meeting started. And that concludes my presentation. Please let me know if there are any questions about the presentation. The owner, architect, and attorney are also here if you have any questions for them. Thank you.
So much, Joyce. Commissioners, any questions for Joyce before we hear from the owner and applicant?
In the recommendation, it gave specifics about the glass. Does that include, are there stipulations on the panel glass as well?
Like the display windows or,
Yes.
yeah, that they should be clear, like they can't have any like tint or like a mirrored like appearance.
Show us an image, please.
Sure. Or, these are like larger ones of the
Yes.
existing storefronts.
So the no bones, for instance.
Right, so in that area, they're proposing to put just transom with clear glass.
And the white on the other.
Yeah, and that would not be allowed in the new storefronts.
So when they're bringing in different stores,
Mhm.
we're not allowing them to like bring in their own color and their own personality to each of the stores.
The storefronts themselves, like the storefront system has to be consistent for all the tenants where they're replacing the storefronts.
What's the thought process behind that?
It's to more closely match the historic style and configuration, as well as having a more cohesive look for the entire building. I mean, they're more than welcome to add some signage, which we're conditioning to have like a signage package, just so there is some consistency in the placement,
Yeah.
location, and like type of signs. But yeah, otherwise, like the storefronts themselves will be consistent throughout the building.
Okay.
2017 patching, do we know, is that patching terracotta or did they use GFRC
I
back?
believe that was GFRC, right?
It was terracotta,
Terracotta, okay.
actually, in 2016, did an investigation into the molds, again, 2017 was when they.
Yeah, I'm just was curious to see, GFRC, I mean, it's 14 square feet. It's kind of
Yes.
close to the sidewalk, so
Yeah.
ideally if we could be, terracotta, it would be.
Yeah, the intent is terracotta.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're hopeful it's in good condition, we just don't know until the sun comes down.
Yeah.
for sure.
Can we hear from the?
Oh, yeah, they're all here.
Here, here.
Yes, right there.
Name, relation,
Yes,
company.
please, yes.
All right, name, Savage Air, owner of North American Real Estate, we're the partner in the building, and yeah, relationship to the owner. And am I continue?
Sure.
Right.
Um,
So, yeah, we purchased the building last year. It's been almost 11 months now, 10 months now. And we were very excited because it's a very prominent building in a very prominent location. And as soon as we purchased it, we realized that it's not a landmark property since it's full terracotta and it's a great building. Everybody pretty much knows Flatiron Building in the city of Chicago, which is great, but we just wanted to make sure that it's going back to its historic roots and we can preserve it nicely, do some upgrades in the building. The second and third floors right now does not have air conditioning or so ventilation. So we really wanted to add that because in this day and age, at 100 degrees weather, it's kind of scary to have people out there working. It's poor people. We need to help them. And then we also wanted to address the issues with different storefronts. One of them is green, the other one's red, the other one's this, that. So that's why we want to go back to the original and have a very like a cohesive matching storefronts for the whole building. And we're going to come up with a signage idea for everyone. So when you look at it, it's not mishmash anymore. It's one big, nice looking building, and trying to take it back to its glory days. So, and trying to make leases again. It's been kind of neglected for a while, as long as we know. And we were really surprised that this was not a landmark building anyway from day one. I mean, I don't know why it was not landmark before, but we thought it would be great to get this building into the landmark status. And plus, we would love to thank you for the opportunity and the staff for their help, because they were really, this is my first time, as you can see. They were really like, okay, here to do this, here to do this. They were really helpful, and we really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Ayer. Commissioners, any questions?
Just appreciate you all, bringing the building forward, project forward. The changes, I think, to just the storefront and modifications of the building, which is set on the bill. I think are all in alignment with the original design intent. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. We have any public comments for this? Oh.
I'd like you to stay here, actually.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
great.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, by the way, welcome. This is an important building. It's part of a landmark district that Preservation Chicago really advocated for more than a decade ago. So it's a special building. It's located at this special intersection. Very dynamic intersection. We've seen a lot of investment over time at this intersection with the hotel across the street and the former Walgreens store. And we've seen some investment in the building with, I think, some new fenestration 5 years ago, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago on the upper levels. But it's great to see the original idea coming through again, expressed through the uniformity of the storefronts. And just want to say it's wonderful to see a reinvestment in our Chicago landmarks and landmark districts. And this is, the most sensitive type of development you could possibly get. And this is development. We sort of forget that restoration and sort of recognizing our landmarks and reinvesting in them is development. And it's the most sensitive type of development, as I mentioned. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. Congratulations on this, and hope this moves forward. And I want you to know, I've been a resident of this area for a very long time now. And I know a lot of artists that were in this building or are in this building. And it's one of the few sort of art colonies left that hasn't been displaced, especially in a high profile neighborhood like Wicker Park, where the rents have escalated. So I'm hoping that your investment will also keep artists affordable in their studios in these buildings, and that creativity that generates from this place will always continue. So welcome aboard, and glad to have you as the new owners of this structure.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Commissioners, any final points of discussion before we go to make a motion? With that, with no further discussion, I'd like to request a motion to adopt staff recommendation. We have a motion.
I want to just clarify something really quickly. I think even though your building is not an individual landmark, it is a contributing structure in a historic district.
Yeah.
Which means it would reap all of the benefits of an individual landmark. So just to clarify that. But yes, So
The landmark, yeah.
It is.
yes, it is essentially. So-
Commissioner Hughes made a motion. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Second, by Commissioner Fair. Roll call, Commissioner Ponce?
Yes.
Yes, I'm a yes, and the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Yeah,
you.
thank you.
So much.
Nice project. The next project, our second project is 27 South Constance in the fifth ward. Alderman Yancey, Jackson Park Highlands District. Proposed modifications to previously approved rear addition, including new attached garage and roof deck. And Emily Barton has a presentation.
That's fine.
No, but this is an early all on one.
Oh.
Wow, look at us.
All right. All right.
Almost rather not see it, right?
Do I need to share again? Yeah.
Yeah.
There we are.
Great. Okay. All right. For real this time. So, the subject property is located mid-block on a double lot between 70th and 71st Street in the Jackson Park Highlands District. The property currently has a small detached garage in the southeast corner of the lot, and the applicant is proposing to remove this garage, which no longer meets their needs, and build a rear addition to the house with an attached garage. Some of you may remember in September of 2021, PRC conditionally approved a proposal for the demolition of that existing garage and the construction of a new rear addition with dormers and some other alterations. The applicant has now come back with some changes to the previously approved project, which is why it's in front of you again. But please note there are no modifications to the previously approved dormers. So the previous rear addition was proposed to be 1 story in height, clad with masonry to match the remainder of the house, with the attached garage having 2 separate carriage style doors and new gable roofs, clad in architectural shingles to match the rest of the home. The new proposal enlarges the rear addition to a 2-story structure with a 1-story attached garage. The south setback has not changed from the previous iteration and is 1 foot inset from the historic south elevation. The north setback has been reduced to approximately 3 feet 6 inches. However, due to the minimal side yard to the north, this will not significantly impact visibility from the street here. The addition is approximately 26 feet tall at its highest point, and the garage is approximately 15 feet tall. And this height accommodates a substantial masonry parapet that serves as a guardrail for a new roof deck on top of the garage. Although now taller, staff's previous recommendation remains that the proposed location is the least intrusive and best location for the addition. Because of this, as well as district context, staff recommends approval of this addition with the condition that the new masonry samples be reviewed and approved by historic preservation staff with the permit application. The new proposal includes a raised brick patio at the south elevation of the building. The patio is proposed to be approximately 3 feet tall and will only attach to the new construction portion of the house. To minimize visibility of the required guardrails, the applicant is proposing to use a 42-inch tall stanchionless glass guardrail system. There is some precedence for historic raised patios in the district, such as those shown above. Because of this, the fact that the raised patio will only attach to the new construction addition and that no decorative features will be obscured, staff recommends this will not be an adverse effect to the house or district. So if you have any questions for me, I'm here, and we also have the architects.
That's great. Thank you, Emily. Any questions for Emily before we hear from the architect? Seeing none, can we hear from the architect?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, Commissioner. My name is Justin Kujay, Principal Architect, Design Group Jedi, Architects and Planners. I was approached to help with this project in about February. I'm a preservation architect myself. I live in Jackson Park Highlands. I've actually worked at 1556 North Milwaukee Avenue, which is right across the street from the Flatiron Building. So, and I did a recent project with Kendallin, so I'm very sensitive to preservation, both personally and professionally. So like I was saying, because of, you know, for whatever reason, the program was stalled because they had retained an architect who wasn't familiar with the mores and codes and the importance of preservation. I'm sorry, this is Darylyn.
Hello.
She's the owner, co-owner of the property, so you can also ask a question. That's why she's nodding like, yes. But suffice to say, you know, so, you know, you know, it's never good to come behind someone, you know, especially when things haven't gone well, but I told them I swear to them, look, this is what I do. I understand and respect and have a value for these things. And this is the program they want. That is the bottom line. When it comes down to it, you know, once we got over the bad taste in the mouth, said, what was the home you desired? And they told me their program, husband, Daryl herself. I went to visit their current accommodation, and we worked from that platform to come up with this vision for the future residents. And you know, again, it's a 3-generation home where, you know, both their parents and their children and they themselves can reside happily. And like I was telling Darylyn, this is their children will populate the community and maybe buy another one down the road and fix that one up too. And you know, I'll be a little older, but I'll be happy to come and help. You know, so again, I'm very sensitive to all the committees and the department's recommendations, and I my own way professionally personally go beyond expectation. So I will be very critical about, for example, we talked about the masonry boards. I did look at the initial matches and I'm like, oh, that's wrong. You know, the brick was good, it was pretty close, but they didn't take their trouble to make the mortar. And so if we can get the mortar to pop, then it'll continue that stream on the house. The deck, again, you know, we started with, we didn't want to block it. They were concerned with that. So I said, oh, we'll use, you know, clear railings, you know, not even wrought iron. We'll go the next distance and we'll call for a clear partition with and as light a top guardrail as possible that you see there. But it won't be the wrought iron that's shown in that rendering. It'll be glass. And you know, we are keeping the additional garage. So Emily, like the site plan shows that the original garage will remain. It's like I asked them, where are you gonna put the lawn? Where are you gonna put your rakes and tools, the yard tool, you know, and so they're like, oh, that's true. So we're every structure on the site, it will remain and will be added to or improved.
Great, thank you. Commissioners, any questions for the architect? Commissioner Fair.
Just a couple of questions that may have convinced me on the guardrail at the elevated patio. That was one of the things that jumped out to me immediately. Sure. You know, just the determination to go with, you know, the stanchion, this glass, as opposed to what I thought would be, you know, wrought iron and glass there. So I'd say, you know, maybe there's other comments from the other commissioners on that, but I would say, you know, for the top rail, if that's at least, you know, black and finished to, you know, tie back.
Absolutely.
I understand the desire to want to freshen up, have a little bit of a longer take there. I also think it's, you know, it's mostly going to be hidden by, I know on the one image, there was, you know, kind of the fence, you know, before you get to the driveway that's got vegetation on it. And so
So we can go back to the site plan, the pro site plan. There it is, yeah.
yeah, so it'll be pretty well hidden. Okay. Yeah, so Funny enough, I'm very familiar with the building.
Okay.
The previous owner.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I'll get at the koi pond in the back.
Yeah.
I don't know if that takes me out of the lane. I'm trying to stand ahead. You don't have to keep the koi. I'm trying to stand ahead. It's all right. No, I'm happy to see, just it being taken care of.
Yeah,
And, someone investing in it for the long term. So I think that's really, I'm really happy to see that. Just really had, I guess, one other question about, on some of the elevations, it looked like the corbel, detail underneath a lot of the windows had been carried, but there were a few that looked like they had been dropped, or maybe it's just, kind of graphic, it didn't show that way. I think there was, which elevation is that? On the north elevation, there were just a few, I think at the what will be the addition second floor, there were a couple that were missing and
I'll say this, there's
Yeah.
a lot of detailing, and yes, I would
Yeah.
have no problem with that being, including the record. There, absolutely, there's details that I would carry over from the original house, as you mentioned, and even for that matter, the position of the French doors, French doors that off the kitchen, those are proportional to the windows of the original south elevation, and then the width of the fireplace. So I tried to repeat, and I used the corner of the house as the axis to mirror that on. And then we ended up for the kitchen plan, the inside consequently having space to put some pictures, some cabinetry as you walk from the kitchen room into the dining room. So yeah, there's a lot of attention to detail that will be definitely addressed, because I definitely wanted to look seamless. And again, to your point, if we went back to the site, if we go back to the proposed site plan, I've told them and everyone, anything from that most southwest corner of the lot, anything visible to the house must seem as if it's like, oh, this was built yesterday. Oh, no, I thought it was 100 years old. So I'm really going to be very economically critical to make sure that the house is as seamless as possible. We carry things over and do the best job possible, in construction and design.
yeah, I think it might have just been a graphic thing on the north elevation. I don't know if it's in this presentation, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure that.
Absolutely.
That corbel got captured for those windows as well.
And with that railing, I'm trying to make it disappear and be invisible as only at distance, but obviously for those close, as a matter of safety. On the inside, it will be visible as a line, but on the outside of that railing, it could literally be designed so it reflects light and bounces light, so it's not so obvious. But on the inside of the patio, I'll make sure for safety, it's very visible, so demarcation.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Fair. Commissioners, any other questions? Commissioner Hughes? You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I would just add that I had similar, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I had similar thoughts about the railing for the new railing, and some things I'm just looking at here, and maybe it's just about, aligning things, and maybe they do, and I just can't tell, but looking at the front porch and, does that bottom of railing kind of match, or is there some relationship across there? It seems a little off.
Yeah,
But
but it's
just-
interesting because
yeah.
the homes.
And just one other thing, like I know that's something that just caught me. And then in terms of above the garage doors, just it seems like it's very heavy. And I'm just wondering, and maybe the wrong idea, but just to throw it out there is what visually I was looking at, it just seems heavy. I'm just wondering, could you get a window above it? Is that too much? And I'm open to what other commissioners might think there, but it feels like you could do something there. And that's my feedback.
Valid, and actually.
Father versus boy.
Yeah, it's the reason that matching of the garage is so great is because you step down.
Oh, you step down, that makes
So
sense.
But we can put above the garage transfers to make it Like, matter of fact, I can,
Only if it helps you pick up another datum, like if it doesn't, it might be, I don't know.
it's feasible because you can see the line of the second floor, if you run it all the way across.
This is the back.
Exactly. That's the line of the second floor and the joist for the deck. So there is space to, again, to the commissioner, your fellow commissioner's point, carry the corbel all the way across.
Yep.
And pick it up and run it across the French doors and then continue it at the line on the garage and put some transoms, so the top of transoms or even some type of indentation in the masonry.
Yeah.
Because window openings are expensive, and I can do the same thing on the face of the brick then without having to punch through it. But just carry that across and put some kind of detail that we find on either the front of the house, which I look for, and then repeat that on the south elevation, and that way now you have, a nice corner experience.
Yeah.
The original front of the house and now what we are calling the new front of the house, which is a south elevation.
Yeah, I think from just giving it another round of thinking is all I'm asking for that. Commissioners, anything else?
On one of the, since you're asking, on one of the, there's a perspective that's showing this facade and the back. Is this a model or is this?
This is
made?
true. This is a Revit
That's
model,
true.
yes. This is,
So why is this dial not carried around for these window heights? Like the seals?
Yeah.
there's a different
this
size
one-
window. It's that window is,
Same size, height wise?
well, off the floor, off the floor, they're different heights off the floor.
These are two different floors?
No, the height of the sill above the floor is different.
I should just asking why is.
So you could match it
Oh, pull the window down. Okay.
and say, yeah, that was bugging me too. Thanks for bringing that.
Noted. Got it. Yeah.
Also same here.
Yep,
this-
the header.
This header for these doors and the header for the windows. Okay. Is it a model thing or is it?
It's a model thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So, but
it's a
but
8 foot.
in true in life, you can have this kind of being the same down, right?
Yeah, 3-point perspective, yeah, that corner is a perspective, so it carries back. So it's an adjustment that needs to be made,
All of these windows will come down to match the height of this,
they
right?
have to, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks Commissioner Hughes for, pointing that out, clarifying that. Any final points? Any public comments?
Just, I
Mr.
have
Miller?
nothing to say, but I am in support of the project.
Okay.
Love these two,
Okay.
right? And this is a reinvestment in a great house.
It's a nice
in the
project.
Landmark District.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Miller. And like to ask for final discussion. I don't see any final discussion. And with that, I'd like to request a motion. Commissioner Fair has made a motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Hughes make a second. Commissioner Ponce?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm a yes, and the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice project.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now to realize it.
Good luck.
Oh, yeah. You gotta make it work.
Exactly. Thank you,
You'll get there.
everyone. Thank you.
Good to meet you, Chief.
Likewise, I'll be in touch.
Moving on,
Oh.
project number 3, 600 West Chicago, the 27th Ward, Alderman Burnett, Montgomery Ward and Company Catalog House. This is the proposed installation of 2 new facelit 21-foot 8-inch by 5-foot signs on the east and west parapets to replace existing signs. And Tyler Taylor has those.
Or locked in.
Yeah.
Get back in.
Creepy.
There we go. Thanks.
I was like,
Here we go. Okay, sorry about that. This is for 600 West Chicago. The 8-story individually designated Montgomery Ward Cadillac House at 600 West Chicago lies adjacent to the Chicago River to the west, the Chicago Ave to the south, North Larrabee and North Kingsbury Streets to the end, North Larrabee and Kingsbury Streets to the east. Designed by Schmidt, Garden and Martin, completed in 1908 as the main warehouse for Montgomery Ward. And although it was considered rather utilitarian at the time, today it serves as one of the best examples of Chicago school industrial architecture. In 2016, the Permit Review Committee approved 2 high-rise signs for Groupon at the east and west elevations. Applications have now been received to replace these with facelit signs for Echo Global Logistics, which will simply read Echo. Both proposed signs are identical and will be mounted to the parapet near the south end of the building. They will appear blue and green during the day and glow white at night. Staff recommends that the nighttime illumination level be adjustable with dimmer controls. The building had signage for Montgomery Ward mounted on a frame above the roof line from shortly after its construction until at least 1970. So there is a historic precedent for high-rise signage on the building. Additionally, in 2014, the committee approved signs for 500 West Cermak, which is a very similar building in style, size, and location. The proposed signs for Echo are blue and green, as opposed to the more neutral gray of the existing Groupon signs. However, the signs are small relative to the overall area of both east and west facades, and staff recommends they will not overpower or detract from these facades. The proposed signs will be the same height as the existing ones, with each letter measuring 5 feet in height, but at 21 foot 9 inches in length, they will be shorter. This will leave some of the holes made to attach the existing signs exposed. These are to be patched with materials matching the surrounding masonry and mortar in color, texture, and finish. Penetrations for attachments and conduit for the proposed sign will be made at mortar joints only. The number of attachment points will be limited to the minimum number necessary to support each character. Staff recommends approval of the proposal with these conditions. City Council orders for both signs have been approved. Alderman Burnett has received the proposal and has not offered comment. The sign contractor, Brian Shipkin from HM Witt and Company is here and will answer questions, and I am now as well.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Commissioners, any questions?
Yes, whenever you take down the existing sign, you know, the residue ghost behind. Yeah, what's happening with the ghost?
That's a great question. That's not something that my company can deal with. So that's gonna be up to Echo and building management to contract with someone to either power wash the facade or skim it or something. I'm not quite sure what they're gonna do. But that
Can we
is-
put that into the staff recommendations,
Yeah.
please. Patch materials, should we request a cleaning?
I think we should request that we review whatever process is proposed,
Okay,
because if it, especially if it's gonna involve power washing, that's
Yes.
something we wanna.
yes,
Review.
don't
Yeah,
damage them, that's right.
okay, so we'll just add that, condition that will review the, room process for removal of the previous, goes into the previous sign.
So this group should review before the new sign goes up.
Sure.
And I'm
Yeah.
only saying that because we've had signs go up with this group reviewing first, so.
This is not my first rodeo. I'm not making a move until you guys.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hughes. And do we want to hear directly from?
The manufacturer.
Yeah,
We did the original.
introduce yourself, I guess, for the.
So, my name
Formality.
is Brian Shipkin. I'm Vice President of Administration at HM Company Signs. Chicago's very own since 1894.
Again, we did the original Groupon letters, so we're more than familiar with the conditions up there. We may even be able to, I mean, the wiring passes that we have that are there, we may be able to reuse. It just depends on how the new letters register over the existing letter footprint. But as Tyler said, we will minimize all penetrations. We will fill resulting holes with material in the same color and finish. And, you know, our goal is to make it look like the Groupon letters were never there. And we know the building very well. In addition to that lettering, we've also done lots of other work on the building. So we're more than apprised of the conditions.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, any questions? Do we have any public comments? No? Okay.
Look, it's time.
Final discussion before seeing none. We have a revised motion on the table, Commissioner Hughes, right?
Yes.
You want to repeat it?
Yes. To review the surface and review the process of removing ghosting before it gets signed. So moved.
We have a motion on the table. Commissioner Hughes?
In addition to the rest of the staff's recommendation, so moved, Commissioner Hughes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ponce.
Yes.
Commissioner Rizzi, yes, and the motion carries unanimously. All right, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our fourth project, 3000 West Logan in the first ward, Alderman Espada, Logan Boulevard's district, proposed addition to rear frame garage, including new 6-foot tall, 15-foot long solid fence on the corner lot. Hi again.
So subject property is located on the corner of Logan Boulevard and Sacramento Avenue in the Logan Square Boulevards district. A permit application was received by staff in July to expand the existing rear garage with site improvements, including a solid fence for a portion of the backyard. Because of the visibility of the proposed changes being on a corner lot, the project requires review by PRC. So the property currently features a rear frame stucco clad garage. The applicant's proposing to slightly enlarge the southwest end of this garage approximately 5 feet to the south and add a new fireplace to the east. This will require partial demolition of the existing south elevation and some reframing of the existing roof, but much of the fabric will be left as is. While visible, the modifications are compatible with the existing garage and the district as a whole, and staff recommends they would not be an adverse effect. The eastern property line of the backyard is currently home to an open metal fence approximately 6 feet in height. In order to add some privacy to the backyard, the applicant's proposing to add a new 6 foot tall solid stucco fence for the north 15 feet of the yard. This leaves the majority of the 60-foot long yard visible through the open metal fence. The commission has approved solid fences along side yards in the past, so long as they do not extend into the front yard. Examples shown including 1057 North Wolcott, which was heard earlier this year. Stucco, however, is generally not a historically compatible material found within the district. So staff is recommending the material of the fence be modified to either masonry matching the front house on the property or wood. And if you have any questions for me, I'm here. I got an email last minute. Our applicants were not able to come, but they provided me with a statement to read on their behalf. So thank you for hearing our submission, and apologies that Joanna or I can't be there in person. We're very fond of the existing garage and the way it interacts with the home and the yard. Unfortunately, however, it doesn't accommodate 2 cars, which is challenging for a growing family. Our goal with this project was to add the space for a second car with as light a touch as possible as it relates to the existing structure. We commissioned an architect to study the problem and are very pleased by the outcome and what we think is a sympathetic solution that leaves approximately 2/3 of the garage on the Sacramento side untouched. We're very sympathetic and supportive of community interest in minimizing the proliferation of obtrusive walls. We just completed the landscaping of our home and removed all fence lines in the front yard of our house. It's completely open to the boulevard now to enjoy. Ours and the home at Whipple and Logan are the only homes on the block that have embraced that openness. Unlike that home, however, the side of our house faces Sacramento, which is an extremely busy and loud street. With approximately 15 feet of masonry fencing, we could create a space where we can sit for lunch and have some quiet enjoyment of the yard. This would be at the very far northeast corner of the property and offer very limited visual distraction to the home itself as viewed by cars and pedestrians. It would offer none as viewed from the boulevard. Moreover, it would leave 2/3 of the fence line open and unobstructed for passersby. The wall itself would be in keeping with the home and be far more aesthetically pleasing than the existing aluminum fence. We're custodians of this home and the neighborhood and take this process very seriously. As such, we consulted with Logan Square Preservation Society during the design phase and made sure they had an opportunity to review and comment before submitting for permit. We did not receive any written comments, but we understand that Logan Square Preservation is in support of the proposal. So if you have any questions for me.
Thank you for that. Emily, any questions, commissioners?
Just maybe a question for about the staff recommendation. I just would assume you all do it for everything else that you all review the masonry samples, but just wanted to make sure that that also is included for the new what chimney
The fireplace.
fireplace.
Yeah, we could definitely add that into our.
Yeah, I think tying that together, especially since it's gonna be in proximity to the new fence, it's gonna be important.
Absolutely.
And based on the letter, it seems like they're going with masonry.
Yeah, they did not have a problem with that. So.
Okay. Any other questions, commissioners? Seeing none, I think we can move to this. We have a revised modified motion from Commissioner Fair to review the masonry for the
Fireplace, thank you.
as well.
Fireplace. So moved with that amendment.
We have a second?
Second.
Second, by Commissioner Ponce and Commissioner Hughes. Yes, I'm a yes. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Last project. 2033 West Hayden, First Ward, Alderman Espada, Ukrainian District, proposed rehabilitation of single-family residence, including the construction of new dormers on the west and east elevations. Joyce almost has the presentation.
So the subject building is a 1.5-story workers cottage located mid-block on Haddon Avenue. There are 2 existing dormers on each side of the building, which are proposed to be removed. The new dormers shown here in yellow are proposed to be set back 19 feet 2 inches from the front facade. Staff evaluated the proposal pursuant to the criteria of visible dormers on 1.5-story masonry cottages in the Ukrainian Village and Extension districts and determined that it meets it. The ridge of the new dormers will be 1 foot lower than the main ridge height of the building. The length of the dormers have been visually minimized by creating gables at the front with shed dormers directly behind. The cladding materials are proposed to be fiber cement siding with an asphalt shingle roof in dark neutral colors. Staff recommends that the fiber cement siding shall have a smooth finish. Staff also recommends that the new windows on the west dormer be wood or clad wood double hung windows. Enlarged window details shall be included in the permit plans. A mock-up of the front portion of the east dormer was constructed for staff review to evaluate visibility from the public right away. A mock-up of the west dormer was not built due to the space constraints limited by the immediately adjacent building. So from vantage point 1, taken across the street and directly in front of the house, a portion of the dormers will be visible. From vantage point 2, taken from across the street and just west of the house, the front of the west dormer will be visible. From vantage point 3, taken from across the street and further west of the house, the dormers will not be visible and will be blocked by the adjacent house. From vantage point 4, taken from across the street and slightly east of the house, the east dormer will be visible. And from vantage point 5, taken from across the street and further east of the house, the dormers will not be visible and will be blocked by the adjacent house. The new dormers will be minimally visible when standing directly in front of the house and immediately west and east of the house. However, the further west and east of the house, the dormers will be blocked by the immediately adjacent houses and will not be visible. Staff recommends approval of the new dormers as shown on the drawings dated July 27th. The existing roof framing at the front of the building shall remain in place, and any new members required should be sistered into the existing framing. Alderman La Spada submitted a letter of support for the proposal, and the Ukrainian Village Neighborhood Association submitted a letter of no opposition. And that concludes my presentation. The architect is here. If you have any questions for him or for me.
Joyce. Any questions for Joyce? We don't want to hear from the architect. How's it going?
So, my name is Gordon Simich. I'm a principal owner of the construction architecture. The clients unfortunately couldn't be here due to work obligations. So they approached me about a year and a half ago now. We've been working on this building. They've owned the cottage for almost 10 years. I think bought 9 years ago. It's actually a 2-flat plan, and they intend to keep it a 2-flat, but they have a growing family, 2 young boys. They have to the neighborhood school, and they need some space to expand into the second floor, which is currently very limited due to the pitch of the roof. There's a couple of dormers that are existing, but they're just kind of pop-ups for bathrooms and random closets, and the overall floor plan, it's kind of like 2 rooms in the front and back and 2 staircases and the hallway connecting it, because there's no fit of actual hallway, and they want to do 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms upstairs so they can fit 2 boys in themselves on the sleeping level. They intended to stay there long term, and they've taken good care of the front of the building. They've done some restoration work on the cornice and the front deck, the front porch, and everything. The front is going to remain as is. We worked with Joyce to make sure we follow all the guidelines for the dorm conditions, and I think sign shows it. So
Thank you so much. Commissioners. Questions? Yes. Commissioner Hughes.
I just want to express my appreciation for the clarity in your drawings and the presentation you presented. Very clear. The intent that you guys did appear to follow all the rules, so we really appreciate that. Great project to end on.
Thanks, Commissioner Hughes.
Good drawings for
Nice mock-ups too.
Yes, and I agree, and you're gonna appreciate, the owner's intent to to really pour love into this home.
There's a semi-humorous story about the mock-up. The contractor that they have been working with, we sent the drawings to the mock-ups to just check it out, and they put the mock-up on 2 houses down. The homeowner came out, asked the contractor what they were doing. The contractor said it's for landmarks. The homeowner was like, okay. Kind of, yeah.
So it'd be like the walk-up, it's actually down the street.
If that house wanted a dormer, I guess.
Okay, great. Any final discussion points? Seeing none, is there a motion? Who's first?
So moved.
Commissioner Bunsen. Second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Fair, Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
All right, and I'm a yes, and motion carries unanimously. And yeah, thank you. A really nice project, beautiful facade of the home. And that brings us to the end of our business today, and I'd like to request a motion to adjourn.
So
All right, so moved by Commissioner Hughes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you so much.
I'm the extension, right?
Okay, Warren.
Great.
1:30.